with clients over the phone and refer them to the program. So one of the things that we do is we introduce clients to the services that are accessible to them through Atlas and guide them towards getting connected to these services. So imagine that your job is to call people that you have never met before. And you're going to, the twist is that you're going to offer them something for free. The intriguing part is that we live in a world where we often question if free comes with a catch. So sometimes people may question, or may feel like this is too good to be true. So my team's role goes beyond making calls. It's also about allowing people, helping people to see the benefits and overcome those questions, the skepticism, and allow themselves for an opportunity through Atlas. Our engagement marks the initial phase of a supportive journey for clients through Atlas.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Thank you. Kathy?
My name is Kathy Pearson. No? The broken one. There you go. My name is Kathy Pearson. I am the Associate Director of Clinical Services at CJA in the Queens Supervised Release Program. My role is to oversee all of the case management services and the peer services that go on in Queens Supervised Release. So we serve actively over 2,000 clients right now. Joanne mentioned earlier, over 4,000 clients a year come through our program that we're able to touch, we're able to refer out. Our role with Atlas right now is we work directly with Riseboro, who's providing functional family therapy to adults. Adam is one of the FFTA therapists that you saw on the last panel. We identify individuals who are eligible for the program, and we connect them directly to Riseboro through the warmest possible handoff that we can. We usually have Riseboro staff stationed in our office every day so that anytime somebody who is eligible for service comes through, we can walk the person right over to the Riseboro staff person and ensure that the service is delivered and the connection is made. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I'm happy to be here with you guys. And I'll pass it over to Jacob.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. And last but not least, Jacob.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jacob Biddle. I currently work as a court rep in the Queens arraignment courts for CJA. But prior to this role, I worked as both a peer specialist and a peer coordinator for the Queens Supervised Release Program. Kathy gave an amazing job of, did an amazing job of kind of like giving an overview of what we're doing as it relates to Atlas, but so I'm coming a little bit more from the peer side of things, and we'll get a little bit more into that further in the panel. So I appreciate you all, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Okay, we'll just delve right into the first question, and my first question is for you, Jeffrey. So, Jeffrey, can you please talk to us a bit about the challenges of engaging youth and families through the outreach department?
One, two, can you hear? Yeah, okay. So, one, two.
Mic check, 1, 2.
There you go. All right. So when we talk about the challenges of engaging youth and families through the outreach department, it's essential to understand the dynamics at play. You are receiving a call from someone that you don't know. You're not expecting this call at all. So initially, think about when you receive a call from an unknown number, someone offering you something for free. There are questions that may come up initially, such as, who is this? How this person got my number? Is my information safe? Is this legit, or is this one of those sophisticated scams that they are doing nowadays? So we have to navigate some of those initial questions. There is a possibility that we have to do that. And also, when we look further down the line, we face other challenges such as building trust, and we heard about trust today, how essential it is. We must be able to relate to the clients, allow them to see that we're there for something positive, to offer them something that is beneficial for them. So we have to navigate the trust issue. We have to build trust. Another challenge is communication barriers. You know, we interact with people from different backgrounds. We must be able to, the communication should be both ways. It shouldn't be a one-way communication. They must understand what we are speaking about, and we must understand what they're speaking about. We must be able to adapt our communication to the people that we are speaking to. Resistant to change. Some people may be resistant to change. I mean, think about it. Change sometimes feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I try to remind myself how uncomfortable change feels by just sleeping on the other side of the bed. You know, sometimes it feels uncomfortable. So we have to understand that people are resistant to change sometimes, and we help them see what's Atlas. We help them see what are the services and allow them to relate to the services. Skepticism, you know, receiving a call from someone you don't know, what is this? So we have to work on building the trust, allow them to see past the skepticism, and that they can, these are services that anybody can benefit from. And you know, when engaging the youth, we have to not just spoke about it, relate to people. We have to be able to relate to the youth. Sometimes we speak two different languages. Kids, they speak one language. Adults, they speak another language. Sometimes we want to let our kids know, don't make a mess in the house when all they want to do is just play. So we must understand that. We must understand that we are engaging youth, and these are some of the challenges that we may navigate through the outreach department, making calls to people.
I'll take that one. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. There's a lot of commonality in what you presented, such as establishing trust, really just making those connections and finding means of really just engaging in meaningful ways and getting the buy-in as well. So thank you for conveying that to our audience here. Thank you. Okay, and now my next question is for you, Kathy. So Kathy, what innovations or pivots has your department made since launching FFTA?
Yes, so we have made nothing but pivots, I feel like, since launching FFTA, which I think speaks to QSR as a whole. So to start at the beginning, QSR, just for those who aren't familiar, we offer case management services. We have master's level social workers, we have licensed master's social workers, we have bachelor's level case managers, and we have peer support. So we're providing case management services. Some clients utilize us really heavily, some clients utilize us less heavily. We provide supportive counseling, everyone is trained in motivational interviewing, everybody's trained in cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, but we're not therapists, and we're not offering intensive treatment in a way that that some clients really want, so we rely heavily on external referrals for that service. So when Atlas was brought to us, from my standpoint as a clinician, I was like, amazing, this is free therapy that we can offer to our clients. What is better than that? And that is how it has played out. There's no big twist. That is how it has played out. But what has been interesting along the way for me is seeing how the program took shape and how we've ended up implementing it. So I think one of the biggest innovations for us as we started this planning process, I think it was in 2001, was offering the warm handoff that I mentioned before. So we know that really building the trust in our clients is important in order to get them to accept services, and we wanted to take a step further. So it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna do a 3-way call to connect you to your new therapist. It's, oh, they sit in our office. That's how much we trust them. They're with us here. Yes, maybe they're not CJA. Our clients really trust us. They trust CJA. Eventually, they get to the point that they trust CJA and trust the services that we provide for them. And if they see somebody that's sitting right alongside us that we can just walk right over to them, it builds that much more trust in that person. So I think that was the first innovation, and one thing that has really stuck through as being really effective in the program model of offering Atlas services to our participants. Let's see, I think when I think about pivots, I think about 3 buckets. So I think about eligibility, I think about engagement, and I think about collaboration. For eligibility, of course, this was our first hurdle, right? How do we identify what clients that we serve are eligible? And we have gone through many different iterations of eligibility. We started with case managers identifying it for themselves. That proved to be a little bit too much for our case managers. We start fresh. Then we moved on to another level of compliance, a QC, clinically QC staff person screening for eligibility. That worked a little better. We're still moving on to that, but then we also worked with other departments in CJA, our research and evidence-based planning team, our IT team, so now we have a list being pulled that's gonna really accurately tell us what clients are eligible for the service. That is probably the lightest pivot that we've had to make so far. The engagement is the next pivot, and Jacob's gonna talk a lot about that too. But engagement was the piece that we were trying so hard to figure out, and I know that that's the theme pretty much of this panel, and they touched on it too in the last panel. But figuring out the point at which we need to talk to clients about Atlas services was critical. And when we started, we were starting by saying, okay, first intake appointment. Let's offer it. Let's pull in the Atlas, the Riseboro team member. Let's do all of these things for the client at the very first appointment. And then, a couple weeks go by and we realized that we're talking to people who had been released from their arraignment 24 hours ago, and were walking in and looking at us like, are you probation? Are you parole? What are you doing to me here? Not realizing that we're a supportive group of social workers that are here to build them up in whatever way we can. We realized offering them the service at the very first session was probably not the most engaging thing that we could do. So we took a step back and we decided to get to know them a little better. We then started offering it a couple sessions later. After you build rapport, loosely with the case manager, after you build rapport, we're gonna offer this service. That worked a little better, and we started seeing more referrals roll in. As case managers got to know their clients a little better, the clients started to feel more comfortable. They were able to identify what their real needs were and whether or not this service was gonna be something that would benefit them. As we continued on, though, I'm going to pass the mic over to Jacob in a bit, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about how our newest innovation or pivot in the engagement realm has been to involve our peers more. And I think that that's a really, really important part of the engagement piece of what we've been doing with Atlas. And my third bucket is collaboration. Collaboration with Riseboro in that bringing their team into our office has been really, really important. And I think, and we'll share later like a success story of one of our clients in engaged with Riseboro and QSR at the same time. But I think the most powerful work happens when we're working in collaboration. We can support the clients. We're not duplicating services. We're doing everything we can to really help clients, and Atlas and Riseboro have been a great partner in that because we've kind of developed this model together.
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, round of applause. I think you touched on such a crucial piece when you talk about collaboration. Collaboration is of the utmost importance. We all know teamwork makes the dream work, so it's really important as service providers and as important pieces of the puzzle. It's really important to come together in a collaborative manner. So thank you for that, Kathy. My next question, Jacob. So Jacob, you're currently working as a court rep. You're in arraignments every day, but prior to that, you were actually working as a peer specialist and as a peer coordinator as well. And as we all know, peers are individuals who have lived experience, are credible messengers. So as you were working as a peer specialist, my question is, how do you build trust, or how did you build trust with participants who come into supervised release for their mandated appointments? How are you able to get them to consider taking advantage of a voluntary service like FFT?
Thank you, Frank. I think I want to start off just by saying, as most of you know, trust takes time, right? And it takes commitment, So building trust with mandated participants, it's not something that's easy to do. But especially our peer team, I think it's something that we excel at, right? So everybody has a different style in how they go about doing this. When it comes to engagement and building that rapport with the participants, right? So for myself, I always like to start off by explaining what a peer specialist is and what the peer support program looks like at CJA and specifically in QSRP, because it's a little bit different than other things that I've seen in the field, right? So When all's said and done, it's been my experience, right, that establishing trust with our participants is really, it's as simple as showing them, that I'm going to walk this walk with you, right? Moving through the criminal legal system in and of itself is a traumatizing experience. And we can't help you determine what the outcome of your case might look like, but what we can do is we can walk with you through that process, right? So one thing that I absolutely love about our peer support program, it allows our participants an opportunity to identify, right? Given the peer title, I have extensive lived experience with the criminal legal system. And in that experience, peer support wasn't necessarily a part of that. I wasn't offered that service. It wasn't really a thing at that time. So for us to have an expansive team of peer specialists with a wide variety of both lived and professional experiences is truly an amazing thing. I'm so proud to be a part of an agency that, looks at peer support services in that way. But I truly believe that when we help our participants to identify and they see a little bit of themselves in the individual who's giving them these services, that it offers them, a chance to really engage with what we're offering them in a different way, right? As it relates to getting an individual to consider taking advantage of voluntary services, I don't think there's any really secret formula to doing that other than laying the options out to them and empowering them to take the ones that are best for them, right? So,
Thank you, Jacob. Round of applause to that answer. I think it's really important to highlight, empowerment, voice, and choice, and being able to use our lived experiences to connect with other individuals who are going through it and to model what overcoming that looks like, and really walking with them. That's the power of mutuality as well. So thank you so much for that answer, Jacob. So I have one last question, final closing question, and it's for the three of you. So to close this session, can you leave us with a story about how connecting a participant or a family to FFT services, building that trust, and how has that made a difference in their lives? Whoever would like to start first. We'll start with you,
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Jeffrey.
All right, so I'll go. So let's take a look at the work that we do at the outreach department. Our main goal is to reach out to clients and connect them to services. We don't see their complete path. However, to speak about how impactful that can be, I can speak about, so my team and I, we speak about, the success of our engagement, how can we improve different areas, and in these check-ins that we have, we speak about different stories from clients, and I hear from them how people, for example, young people, sometimes they not aware of what they can do. They just moving around in life, and when we give them a call, when we build that trust, when we explain the services, when they know what's accessible to them, the sense of gratitude that they have is tremendous. So my team feel this at that moment, not seeing the client yet, going through the entire program. Also, another area that I can speak about is parents. When my team speak with parents, sometimes I remember one of my staff was sharing how this mother shared how her son was not on the right path. And she was so grateful for receiving that call. She wasn't aware of the services. And at that moment, she learned about the services. Actually, the son was connected through to Atlas because of the mother. So she learned about the services, and I guess she spoke to the son, and then they called back, and we were able to connect the son to services. So we can see the impact there, the gratitude that they have, how thankful they are at the moment. And about a month ago, one of my staff, she received a call from someone. And when she spoke to the client, the person was like, hey, I just want to thank you because I just completed the program and it helped me a lot. So, that's what those are the stories that motivate people, motivate us to continue doing what we're doing, to continue explaining the services to clients and helping them getting connected to these services. To further illustrate the impact that our work has on people's life, I just want to take a look or mention some data, some numbers. So taking a look back at the past 3 months, outreach, we received about 1,102 eligible cases per month. That's on average for the past 3 months. Out of that amount, we had contact information for 968 people on average. So that means that we had the possibility of contacting 968 people. They either had a cell phone number, a landline, or a contact listed that we can reach out to. We were able to reach 477 people on average, and we were able to refer or connect to Atlas on average 100 people, 100 cases per month. And that's over the past 3 months. So, this is just to show or highlight the impact of the outreach work in connecting individuals and families to the Atlas program.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. That is absolutely amazing. We have a few minutes left, but I do want to be able to spend that time sharing your success story as well.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. So I'll just get right to it. We had a young woman come into supervised release, immediately engaged with both case management and peer support staff in a very, very meaningful way. When offered FFT, she immediately accepted, but it took some time to really get that engagement where it needed to be. And Riseboro was working with the father as well as the client. So Riseboro accompanied her to court, spent time with her in the community, broke bread with her, literally. They worked with Dad to provide psychoeducation because, his position was he wanted her either incarcerated or in a hospital because then maybe there'd be a semblance of safety, for the family unit. There was other young children involved. The mother was not involved in the situation at all. But Riseboro was able to build up an amazing rapport to the point that the family was coming to see us. They're having sessions in the office, and the participant was actually coming to the office to look for Riseboro because she viewed it as a safe space to engage with them. So I'm going to pass it off to Kathy to tell a little bit more.
Yeah. That young woman that Jacob's talking about is like the quintessential it takes a village client. When I think about her before Riseboro, we were all engaged. It was the kind of person that when we saw a rearrest notification come through, the entire department was like, no. We all knew her. We all touched her. Frank worked with her. I worked with her. I'm sure my colleagues in this room worked with her too. So when she accepted FFTA services, it was no doubt in her mind. She was like, these people know QSR, we're gonna work with them. And then by the time the FFTA really engaged her, at any given moment, if she was in the office, you could walk past the interview room, and it was some combination of Riseboro, Riseboro and QSR working together with her. And it just was like such an impactful, amazing relationship. She ended up with a really great outcome. We've heard from her since she left our program. She's doing really well, and it's just a perfect example of the level of collaboration and engagement that it takes to work with the participant and the magic of FFTA and Atlas and Riseboro and what they can do with a situation like that.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone. on this panel today. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your perspectives as well. And thank you all for listening actively and participating. Thank you all for being here. It is so important for us to, again, to share this space together and to be here for the right reasons, to know your why. Why are we here? We are here to make an impact. We are here to heal and strengthen our communities, and we are here to save lives. Thank you all. If anybody has any questions or concerns, we'll be around. Feel free to interact with us, ask any questions. Thank you. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.